Hi, darlings. I'm Fuel Samani, and you're listening to Cover Perspective. This podcast is for those who are keen on improving themselves and where I share meaningful, unprofessional advice, as well as sharing my honest perspective on all aspects of life. As you know from the title, in this episode, I'll be discussing people pleasing and my experience having been a past people pleaser and how I stopped, so let's dive right in. First, before I start, I'll be giving a short definition of what a people pleaser means, so you can get a rough idea of what it means, in case you didn't know already. Okay, according to Cambridge Dictionary, a people pleaser is someone who cares a lot about whether other people like them, and always wants others to approve of their actions. Do you consider yourself a person who is constantly seeking validation from others in any way, or constantly trying to prove your worth, and scared to speak out on your disagreements in case that friendship or relationship might go south? I used to be someone who was extremely like this, for years actually, but specifically when I was in year 7 to year 9 of secondary school. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the term or you've studied American curriculum, secondary school is basically from between the ages of 11 and 16, so from year 7 to year 11. So I was dealing with this roughly from the age of 11 to mid 13, 14, I would say. When I first entered secondary school, I became way more timid and extremely introverted. I wasn't really confident in myself, about my looks, about my capabilities, my strengths. I was overall a very shy, meek person. Um, and I went through a lot of transitions with friendships, some of them repeating, some of them being in different stages of friendships, and some of them being, the same people but in different friend groups. So basically, I studied in the UK from nursery to midway of year 9. So nursery is basically, from the age of 3 to 4, I think, and year 9 being, from the age of 13 to 14. But due to someone in my class being infected with COVID, the dangerous word, the word that brings back haunting memories, yeah, after someone being infected with COVID, the school, ended up closing down. I went through a very shy phase where I wouldn't speak up in class, I wouldn't participate, communicate, I wouldn't, share my worries and doubts, but not to the point where I was completely silent, obviously. But I was just very timid, but mostly shy in class, overall, but also in, groups as well. And I didn't get heard most of the times within my friendship groups. And because I was so insecure, that would radiate to other people. I would constantly be gossiped about, obviously not right, not right in front of my face. Um, but I've had moments where, like, say, my friend or someone, sends me an argument going on between them and those other people, and my name being popped up. We love that. But it's also happened in an instance where I received screenshots of me being completely insulted by, keep in mind, a group of popular girls, quote unquote, at that time. And keep in mind, like, I had no relationship nor ever encountered them, which is pretty weird, to be fair. But yeah, I remember this thing happened where, okay, this is really, you're gonna like, this is something that is so unnecessary, but I thought I was really funny here. So I remember being in year 7, and there was this popular girl that I followed. I can't remember if she followed me back, but it's alright, it's alright. But anyways, I remember she put this poll on her Instagram saying, I'm having a party this weekend. Do you want to come? Yes or no? So a poll is like yes or no. And keep in mind, I had no idea like who this girl actually is. I never talked to her, but she goes to my school. Um, so I remember I thought I was really funny here, but I clicked no, and she saw it. She ended up seeing it, and she ended up, fully insulting me, saying, why would you say no, whatever, mate, I don't even know you, you're a nobody, I wouldn't even want you to come. Like, she was just being very aggressive, and I was like, I'm sorry, like, but it was a joke. Like, I was joking, like, I wasn't actually being serious. And you know, she couldn't, basically, like, sense that, like, it wasn't a serious thing. But because she got so defensive, she was like constantly like insulting me and like being aggressive. Keep in mind, this was all on Instagram, guys. This wasn't face to face. And she was like, if I see you face to face, and keep in mind, this is no hate to Essex people, but I'm just going to imitate like her accent. And I actually heard this in her accent, which is pretty crazy. Like, when I read it, I was like, oh wow, I'm hearing it in her accent. But she was like, basically like, if I see you face to face, then I'm gonna scrap ya or whatever. Like, she was willing to fight with me because I said no. That's it, guys. Like, obviously, like, I could have went through my day and not, done that, funny thing. If you, could maybe like see it was funny, but I could have, just not answered. But she didn't need to get aggressive. Like, there was no need for that. And I remember she like put me in a group with her quote unquote boyfriend, which I actually knew that was her friend. Like, she didn't have a boyfriend at that time, or maybe she had a boyfriend, but she was with someone else. But yeah, she bought this quote unquote her boyfriend, which was actually her friend, and he was like being like really racist to me because I remember they said something that I was like, oh, I'm Muslim anyway, I can't do that or whatever. Um, yeah, I don't remember what the thing was. And after they found out that I was Muslim, they were like, oh, you terrorist or whatever, basically being completely racist. And I remember this girl like literally sent me group like screenshots of the group chat that she was in with her, popular friends, and she sent the messages to them, um when I was literally like, girl, I'm joking. Like, she took this seriously, and she would send me screenshots, her friends, talking like really bad about me and saying, oh, she's a nobody, who is she, who does she think she is, or whatever. Like, basically completely insulting my name and saying, if I see you, then we're gonna have a problem. I saw her, we didn't have a problem. I don't even think she knew what I looked like, to be fair. um but she got very defensive, and I'm pretty sure she was more insecure than I was, because why would you say that person is a nobody? That's a wild thing to say, especially to someone that you've never met before. Like, obviously, I'm a nobody, but I'm not a nobody in life. But yeah, um, yeah, this goes like under the lines of like, I was gossiped about for no reason. And guys, this is like year 7 stuff. Like, I'm not really too, mad about it. Like, I remember my sister was like defending me because I actually got scared of them. I actually got scared of the girl. And my sister was like defending me, and like, she could think of the words, like the comebacks and stuff. But anyways, so whatever the situation would be, I had moments where I would care too much about what people thought of me, or how people perceived me, or what people were saying about me. Like, those things that the girl said, um, that really hurt me and upset me. And keep in mind, they had no idea who I was, you know? Like, they had no idea what my personality was like or whatever. But I got really upset, as if these people actually knew me. Now, me going back to this, I wasn't a confident person. I would get triggered, upset. I would take it personally if someone talked about me, or if someone wasn't treating me right. Like, I would ask, what have I done? Or what's wrong with me? Like, I would put the blame onto myself and ask these sorts of questions, as if I did anything wrong to make that reaction happen from the other person, instead of looking at it as, plain disrespect from the other person. Um, I wouldn't defend myself. There would be periods of times, especially experiencing friendships, but I'm talking about these two specific friendship groups from year 7 to year 9. Now, this is nothing personal, by the way. If any of those people are listening to this, this is just my experience with the whole situation, and I'm sure you've changed, but, um, you know, yeah, so don't take it personally. So, from year seven, I had this short friend group consisting of four people, me and three other girls, but there were periods of moments where I felt left out. I just felt like I was agreeing with everyone and everything that happened and not defending myself if something was said to me. Also, constantly dealing with all sorts of arguments, situations, fallouts. I was basically putting all my energy in it and trying to help all sides, of the arguments until I got tired of it and actually stopped trying until that friendship group eventually broke up. Um, I didn't go back to that friend group since it happened, and I actually transitioned into a friend group where some of the people that were in my previous group were also in this one, which was a much larger friend group. Now, this friend group I had and my personal experience with it, for majority of the time I didn't feel known. I didn't feel like I was appreciated. I wasn't heard nor seen. I was left out for the most part. Now, me being unconfident and insecure and always seeking the approval of others, I was in a tricky situation because I knew I wasn't happy deep down, nor fulfilled. Now, I think early year nine for me was the most timid stage of my life, looking back at all of this now. And I'm not really sure if those people at that time knew that. And that's why they were maybe like that with me. So I'm not going to put all the blame on them. And obviously, I forgive them. But even being in such a large group of people, I felt like there was nobody by my side. I felt immensely isolated from the group, as if I didn't even exist. I wasn't included in most things, certain outings, certain conversations, nor was I invited really. I wasn't heard, I wasn't listened, I wasn't treated like a person from their friend group. Now, I had a friend in this group which still stays loyal to me, and I consider her one of my most bestest friends and closest friends, and someone who has been a huge merit in my life till this day. And we've been friends ever since primary school, actually. And we first met when we were in year five, so when we were 9 years old, basically. And till now, we're still strong, even being completely on different continents. But I love her genuinely more than anyone could imagine. Like, she has been there through all stages of my life, especially in friendships, as majority of the times we were in, the same friendship groups. Anyways, me and my friend that I just talked about would always talk to each other saying how we didn't feel acknowledged, nor known, nor given attention within the group in comparison to the other people. We just felt out of place, basically, and we felt like we weren't really there, metaphorically speaking, even if we were there. So that's when we mutually decided that, this group wasn't serving us anymore. And we wanted to cut off from them. Let me say, it ended quite badly. We ended up talking to some of the people in the friend group who we trusted at that time, stating how we felt like we weren't included, we just felt left out most of the times, and those same people that we told, which we thought to be our, quote unquote friends, and thought we could actually rely on their help, instead they went ahead and told the whole group, and words were twisted, and some people in the group took it badly and got extremely verbal and rude. They took it as a hate comment, basically, and misunderstood the point that we were trying to get across. And it was really nothing personal. It was just our experience with it and how we were being treated and how we felt, which was totally valid. You know, you would expect in a healthy, respectful friendship group that they would hear you out at least and find a way for a solution to the problem, that they would at least communicate with you and not going behind your back and announcing it to the whole group as if we said anything wrong or rude or disrespectful, which, we weren't at all, nor did we have that intention. And this was out of pure concern for ourselves, and they went behind our back, making it seem like they were understanding, and then, certain people taking it very harshly and switching onto us, basically, saying how we were the problem and we were the blame, whatever, whatever. And they weren't really taking that accountability, nor that acknowledgement, nor taking the responsibility and the part that they played in the act, and not admitting to it as well. They just put it onto us. And this is a very common tactic when you have people pleasers versus the people that are getting the attention from those people pleasers. So when you say something out of concern or hurt, or when you express your feelings and emotions towards them, or towards a certain situation that happened, they instantly switch onto you. And, they're afraid of confrontation. It's like a sixth sense in them saying, oh, you're too sensitive. You can't take a joke. You did this. Even if you did absolutely nothing wrong for them to act that way. Like, what they did was just, just plain disrespect, and merely because they could do it and we allowed them. That was literally it. That's all we did. We just allowed them to treat us that way until we came to a conclusion and realization. So me and my girlie knew that. We were like, yeah, we got upset and disappointed, but in the end, we said these people weren't for us, and we're still like loyal together. And I still talk to her to this day. Like, she is genuinely one of the most, bestest friends, in my life, one of the most important people, in my life. So yeah, you thought I was done? Nah, 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 guys, I'm not done. I got requests that, like, I should make my podcast longer. So I'm really going into detail, through everything that happened and everything that I want to say, because people are telling me this is too short. Why is it only 19 minutes long? And I was like, I was scared to make it like really long, but as I've gotten a lot of requests for this, I'm going to make it a bit long for you guys. So I hope you enjoy it. Okay, getting back on the topic. So later on, after that other friendship group ended, we transitioned into a different friend group. And this group specifically was, all good and giggles in the beginning, but started escalating into arguments, violent verbal battles and WhatsApp heated fights, and into literal chaos, basically, in simple words. And there were a lot of things being said behind our back, and they were at that time extremely cocky, and they thought that they were better than us, and it was overall a toxic environment to be in, whether that will be, you faced with arguments between those people, in the group, and us having to break everyone apart and sorting it out, and later us getting blamed or whatever, or there being an argument between my friend and those people, as my friend was, extremely nice overall, therefore an easy target, which is a bit sad. But like, when you're nice, you're an easy target for those people. And basically, the blame, was always switched onto us or her. So basically, moral of the story, me and my friend agreed once again that this group was unhealthy for us. We weren't going to keep on allowing people who are rude and disrespectful, also mean, and basically hiding their insecurity to make it look like confidence. It was actually arrogance in reality. And basically, at that moment, we started to gain more confidence within ourselves, and realized, our true worth and how we don't deserve these types of people in our life, from the experiences that we have dealt with together, we were able to develop a sense of respect for ourselves and knowing what people are good and bad for us. Obviously, for someone to gain confidence and knowledge about certain types of people and characteristics and things to steer away from is through experiences. I wouldn't be the firm, strong, witty person I am today if I didn't go through all of that. So don't look at your experiences as a sign of weakness or self pity. Nobody wants to see someone pity themselves. It's the worst thing to hear or see in a person. It doesn't do you good, first of all, to dwell on past experiences because they have created this new, stronger version of you. And then again, I went through those experiences with my best friend, which remains loyal to me as I do to her. So, what does that tell you? The people that are meant for you and meant for your highest self will be very visible to you. I mean, really, really clear and observant to you. And they will stand by you all the time through hardships, success, and through all experiences. If they are your true friend, you will know. You won't have any doubt in your heart and mind whether this friend is loyal or not. From what is shown to you, basically, like, you will just know if this person is good to you or not from the actions that, that you are seeing, in front of your eyes from that person. Open your eyes. Seriously, open your eyes. Notice the difference between true friends and fake friends. And with our friendship, we don't need to be around together 24/7 to feel content. Even us being quite literally across the globe, I still feel just as secure and cared and loved as if we lived in the same country or area. I still feel her warmth, and I know that she's still with me, backing my every move as I do for her. It's balanced. And for me, anyways, I'm more content with smaller, close knit circles. And maybe that's because I have a lack of, experiences in that field, having large groups of friends in which I feel content with. But this is how I feel, for now. So if you're someone that, has a really large friend group, but all of you guys are content and there's no disrespect, then good on you, honestly. This is not saying that large friendship groups are bad, but I haven't had much experiences with them to, make a decision that this is what I prefer. But this is just something that I've realized. Now I'll be talking about an experience that I had with someone who wasn't my friend and someone who I had no relationship with whatsoever. I significantly remember this memory that still sticks to my brain till this day, that I just can't forget. And the regret I feel after doing what I did is literally engraved in me still. It still hits me, honestly. But anyways, let me share this thing that happened. So basically, I had an experience with a girl in school that, keep in mind, I never spoke to, not even once. And this was around year 8 or year 9, but I can't remember exactly when. So this is quite known in the UK that schools offer private buses which are just for students from that school, which are located in different villages and different locations depending where you live. So there was obviously a bus that I took every day to school, which was just for students from that school, and you had to pay a fee before the beginning of each term. Anyways, throughout the years of being in that same bus, there was always sort of this silent agreement where you sat, depending on your rank, you know, or like for our bus, there were two bunks, and the bottom bunk, you could say they were for people that were considered uncool. I know it's crazy to say, but that's how it was, back in the days. That's, what our thought process was like. And the top row was quite elite. And since I didn't want to ruin my reputation as if I had one, I always sat at the top. Plus, I liked it more, I liked it not only for that reason, but I genuinely liked it more. Like, year sevens would sit at the front, like right at the front, because they were the youngest. And year 8 to 9 would sit roughly in the middle, and older years or popular people would sit right at the back. So throughout all those years, I roughly sat in the same place, and it never got taken until there came a day where one of the girls that goes on my bus, her friend actually came on the bus one day because she got invited to her house or something. Now, keep in mind, she was in the same year as me, and I knew her because she was considered, one of the quote unquote popular girls at that time. And I was quite intimidated by her. I don't really know why, but, with lack of confidence and self respect, that was bound to happen. So, this girl came on the bus after school finished, and she came up to me as I was sitting down. Keep in mind, literally like minding my own business, literally like watching, the views, of like outside, like literally like my head, on the windows, literally like imagining, as if I'm in this like, movie scene or whatever, basically romanticizing my life. But, I was actually minding my own business, but she came up to me, looked at me, and said, "Move," in a harsh and loud way. And do you know what I did? I moved. Keep in mind, there were literal empty seats available, but she wanted to specifically sit on a seat where it would be just for her and where she would be closest to her friend. She didn't think about this being my designated bus and how she doesn't actually go on this bus. It was clear that she had a plan in mind to find a seat and take it off of someone. Like, she could have sat next to me. Why was it necessary to tell someone to move when they're already sat? Like, in what right mind is that a humanly thing? And what annoys me more is that I obeyed her. I didn't even say anything. I could have said, "No, this is my seat," or "You can sit next to me." But instead, I got up and moved, and guess where I ended up sitting? As I got up, people were taking the seats in front, so there were no seats available on, the top bunk of the bus. And the bus was going to move like literally at any second. So I took myself to the bottom bunk for no reason, just so that girl could sit in my seat by herself, might I add. Like, there was no reason for me to move out of my seat that I sat every single day just for someone else. But because I was so intimidated by her, I listened to her. And that girl was quite known for getting into fights with people, so I didn't want to risk it, honestly. Now, looking back, I would have reacted completely differently and sat at my seat, because why would I move, first of all, just for you to literally sit by yourself? Like, what? Like, seriously, excuse me. And this totally defines a people pleaser. Someone who does anything to not get on anyone's bad side. My low self esteem and my lack of respect and confidence for myself got in the way of everything. Like, why are you scared? They're another human being, for crying out loud. Don't give people the authority to do that to you. When you take away their power, they can't do a thing to you. People need to feel some sort of power to be able to do those things and to think that they'll get away with it and to think it's okay. Take your power back. It's quite literally like charging your phone. You know, your phone needs the power to work, and when you charge it, you give it that battery. It goes from 1% to 3% to 75% to 100%. A phone needs a charger in order to operate. When you unplug that charger, it slowly decreases. That battery becomes lower, 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 and lower until it eventually dies, until it has no power left. The same thing applies to people. Taking that role as the charger will increase your self-control and power. When you unplug that power that someone has over you, they will realize that they aren't actually in control. You are. Those types of people that want people to give them whatever they want and whatever they please, and overall not good people, they crave that applause. They crave that sense of power. That when you talk back, you defend yourself. And when you defend yourself, they start to step back because they notice how they aren't in control anymore. I'm also going to add another, example of how bad I was as a people pleaser and how I was genuinely, literally craving, I was genuinely only craving the validation of others, and I didn't really care about what I wanted. So yeah, this might be a bit of a long episode, but I feel like, hopefully you guys will benefit from this. And I genuinely wanted to, add as much examples as I possibly could from my experiences through this sort of thing. I just want to quickly bring this up I just want to add this note that I want to include in my episode. But relating to, me being a people pleaser before, me having been a people pleaser before, I remember how, because I wasn't really popular, I wasn't considered popular. I could say I was known, like people knew me, but I wasn't popular. I wasn't, no like correlation to being popular whatsoever. But yeah, I could say that I was liked because people would tell me, yeah, I mean, but in terms of people pleasing, I remember because I was so I had no confidence basically, and I was a very shy person who looked for that validation. Um, Now, most of you hearing this, or some of you hearing this, that were in my secondary school, oh my gosh, I don't even know how I'm going to bring this up without cringing and without laughing, but because I wanted that validation, the only thing that I could do was show off, I don't know, show off something designer. And most of you that know me from year 7 might recognize the infamous Gucci bag. And guys, I'm not even saying bag. It wasn't even a bag. I remember I borrowed it. It wasn't even a bag, guys. It's those bags say you buy a Gucci bag and they have to put it in the bags, like say like a Tesco bag, for example. I'm talking about that, not an actual Gucci bag. Because I remember my mum got something from there and I took the bag. Guys, I'm not joking. I never got so much attention from it. People would come up to me and say, "Oh my gosh, you're so rich. Oh my gosh, she has a Gucci bag." Guys, keep in mind, it wasn't an actual Gucci bag. It was just those bags that you get, before exiting the shop. you know, it, oh my gosh, the fact that it wasn't a Gucci bag, but I got attention from it is crazy. That's actual mental illness. Like, also, I remember when I borrowed my mum's old Rolex because Mumsy, she's got two Rolexes in it, but um, not even me bragging, but like it's the general truth. I remember she had this mini one, this small one, which was her older Rolex, and I remember I wore it to school for like a few days. Keep in mind, I didn't actually ask permission from my mum because I was like, oh, she doesn't even wear it because it's an old one. Because she got like the upgraded version, at that time when like there was like this specific watch that was really like known and popular, and she got it. Obviously, yeah, good, good on her, right? But I didn't even ask permission. I just wore the watch, and I remember getting so much attention from it. I remember like people would refer me to the rich girl, and I'm like, guys, how do I, actually, tell these people that like this isn't mine, like this was my mum's. None of the things that I took, Gucci bag that wasn't even a Gucci bag, just to carry on. Um, that wasn't even mine. That was Mumsy's. Um, yeah. No, but guys, I remember like liking the attention that I got. I remember like it was weird. Like I found it weird that people referred me to the rich girl, but like, I mean, who carried a Gucci bag that wasn't even a Gucci bag? Guys, I'm not even joking. I used that Gucci bag. Guess for what? For my PE kit. And that bag was like, absolutely demolished. Like, literally, it was ripped, and I sellotaped it. I dead ass taped that bag. It wasn't even a Gucci bag, love. Why are you taping it? Just because I wanted to still be like, oh, known as the quote unquote rich girl. But guys, you can see how this refers to people pleasing because I wanted that validation from people. I wanted people to go, oh wow, look at her, because I didn't get attention, like otherwise. I mean, I was a nice girl at school. I was a nice girl at school. Like, I wasn't known for anything bad or anything, which was a good thing. I didn't have a bad reputation, which is why I think people knew of me. Like, they would just like say, oh, you're just really nice and stuff. But people never really knew me, if that made sense. And I was really timid, like for those past like 2.5 years. I wouldn't say 3 years because I didn't complete year nine, obviously, since COVID literally like surprised us, and yeah, literally came midway, like, hello, girl, who invited you? But yeah, yeah, I just wanted to say that, but like, it's crazy how I went to the level of taking a bag. I could have taken a Tesco bag, to be fair, and literally like not having to struggle carrying it because my clothes would literally come out the other end. Like, I'm not even joking, guys. It was genuinely embarrassing. But like, obviously, when you're in year seven, that's like a big thing. I think if I did that in, say, year nine, oh, not even a look, not even a stare. And it's just crazy how I did all those things just to seem, I was important in a sort of way. Because I didn't realize I was important. I had to do things to make people think that I was important, or to make people like know that I was important. I was like screaming, not really screaming obviously, but like I was like begging for that validation, for that attention, because I didn't get it. Um, but yeah, I remember like I didn't really have much style. I didn't really like, obviously I had a personality, but in terms of outer appearance, I remember I would literally straighten my hair every single week before school, I would sleep late just so I could straighten my hair for 2 hours, just to let it, get like get puffy the next day. Because you guys know UK weather. Like UK weather is not for the weak. UK weather is not for the hair care girlies. Because especially in where I lived, it was raining all the time. And when is it not raining in the UK? Like literally, like spitting every single day. But yeah, I remember literally as soon as I came out of my door, obviously because my house was really close to the train station. Like, I'm not even walking like a minute walk. It was literally right next to it. Also, the bus station is right next to the train station. So obviously, like, the bus that I took, every day to school, it was obviously there. But I remember literally walking out, my hair literally being pinned straight, literally just walking, literally not even 2 miles, and literally like transformed into Hagrid from Harry Potter. Like, it's giving that vibes. It is giving that vibes. I'm not joking. That electrocuted, hair. And I remember I used to be really insecure about my hair. Um, from my Arab descendants and yeah, genetics. I have curly hair, but yeah. So I remember I never let my hair curly, and I remember whenever it rained, like I would literally be scared to lift my hood up, like I mean my coat. So I remember like I would not lift my hood up. I wouldn't. I remember my friends like knowing it, and like they would literally know me for not going out in the rain because I didn't want my hair to be ruined, because 2 hours of straightening your hair every single week, literally like frying it, obviously you're not going to want to make it ruined. Like it's giving, like, I don't know if you guys have watched H2O, those mermaids that whenever they touch water, they turn into mermaids. That's me, but with my hair. Whenever like a droplet of water touches my hair, literally transformed. Like it's giving H2O mermaids. It's giving Cleo. Like it's literally giving that. But with hair, obviously. So I remember I used to be really insecure. I used to, obviously, because I used to be like not really jealous but envious of those people that had pin straight hair. But I remember the funny thing is that girls would dye their hair black. Like I remember having so much crap in like primary school about my hair being black. Like that was like a red code, like code red. Oh, your hair is black. Oh, I only go for blondes. Which is funny because nowadays people are changing themselves to looking more Middle Eastern, you could say. Like things that I got made fun of and things that most people got made fun of. Whether that would be henna, which is henna, um, like freckles. This is not for just Middle Eastern, but like freckles. I remember like people who had ginger hair used to get a lot of hate, especially ginger with freckles. Like that is, that is the lowest point, Um, yeah, but the thing is, I found people with ginger hair, especially with green eyes, I found them to literally look like royalty, like literal princess vibes, prince vibes. Like I used to think that those people had so, like, I still obviously do. I think red hair is one of the most beautiful colors to exist. Like I've always thought that, and I never understood why people with ginger hair and freckles got so much hate for it. Like I remember I would see literal people that had ginger hair literally get bullied just for being ginger. Like, and people wouldn't even refer to their name. They would just be like, "Oh, that ginger one." You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. That's crazy, not gonna lie. But I remember I got so much hate for, having black hair because obviously like my hair was and still is like really like black. Like obviously I used to like boast to people in the sun. I think many of people that, are Arab or Middle Eastern or maybe like Saudi and stuff can like relate to me saying this. Like I used to tell people that my hair was dark brown, And in the sun it goes red. Red is actual crazy. Like that is, she is delusional. Like I was a bit delulu, to be fair, and I would be like, guys, look, my hair is brown. Like whenever the sun comes out, like that would be my opportunity to show off my quote unquote brown hair. And I'm like, guys, look at my hair. Guys, I have like color changing hair. I dead ass used to say that, and obviously to people with like people say that people like that had like blonde hair or naturally brunette hair, like I bet they didn't even believe me. I bet they were like, girl, yeah, sure, 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 feeding into your delusions in it. But yeah, it's just like this brings back to the point of me being so insecure, me not me being me like previously, not previously, I don't know how to say it, me like in the past being so insecure, especially in those years of my life, about my appearance, my hair, obviously like arm hair and stuff like that. Because I remember like how my mum wouldn't let me like shave my hair, because obviously like you would see like blonde people, they would have hair but it literally looks invisible. So they wouldn't really have a problem with shaving, but obviously with black hair it's more obvious, so it looks more, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I feel like there's nothing wrong with shaving. I prefer having, a clean arm and a hairless arm than having a hairy arm, to be fair. Like, I don't understand why people would prefer being hairy, especially women, than being hairless. Like, I just don't get the logic behind that. But I mean, it's their opinion, it's their preference. But me personally, I remember being in school, where I would obviously like our school uniform. We had to wear like this polo white shirt, and they were really specific about the things that we wore in school. Like you couldn't be seen wearing a different, like a classic black jumper, even if it was on top of the polo, or if like you couldn't wear it underneath the polo shirt, or you couldn't wear it like, they were very strict about the uniform, which I can understand because obviously like they want us to look smart, but sometimes like they were a bit overboard with like uniform and that. But yeah, I remember, yeah, we wore like these polo white shirts, and we obviously had this Scottish aesthetic type of skirt. Yeah, our school uniform was burgundy, which I found really nice. Like, I never hated it actually, but I used to be envious of those who had navy uniforms, because I would be like, oh my god, or black uniforms, because I used to think they would look so cool. But I remember people like that had those types of uniforms. They'd be like, oh, I wish I had burgundy, and I'm like, girl, you serious? But yeah, looking back at it now, I think our uniform was pretty nice. But yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, I remember. So we had this polo shirt, and we could choose to wear like a jumper, this like black, sort of V-neck jumper, if you will. But it had to be really specific. Like, you had to purchase the whole school, merchandise to be able to actually fully walk in school safely without getting like questioned, or without getting stopped for incorrect uniform, even if even if the change would be like barely visible, but they would notice obviously. So yeah, oh my gosh, I'm literally like explaining everything else apart from the actual point itself. um yeah, I remember how we had this jumpers, right, like the black jumpers. I remember I would literally like pull the sleeves of the jumper so all of my hands would be covered, or like my arms would be covered, because I remember like obviously at that time I did have like body hair. So, and it was crazy, like that was even before puberty. Like what are you doing having hair? But I think genetics, honestly. Yeah, sorry dad, but yeah, literally like inherited body hair from my dad. But yeah, it's a bit sad, isn't it? But anyways, I remember I would roll the sleeves to literally like the last it could possibly like reach. And I would get so scared if it pulled even a little inch, like even if it moved. So I would constantly like roll not roll up, like I would constantly pull my sleeves so like my arms would be covered, like not my arms and my some of my hands to be covered, like my fingers would just be obviously. But yeah, that goes without saying. Like, I was just very insecure about everything, to be fair. Also, quick apologies that this won't be downloaded on Tuesday. So, you might have noticed that I haven't actually downloaded it on Tuesday. It's currently 12, and I'm currently editing my recordings. Like, I genuinely didn't think that my recording would take this long. Also, there's a problem with my Spotify account. So whenever I go onto Spotify for podcasters and whenever I want to like say download an episode, it doesn't fully load the site, if that makes sense. So like it doesn't show me the option to download. So I'll be downloading this first on YouTube. So until I can get full accessibility on Spotify, so I could download it on Spotify as well. So just thought I should get that out there. Okay, we have reached the end of this podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I greatly appreciate it. Comments will be open, and I'll be looking forward to your reviews, notes, or questions, or maybe recommendations for my new episode. New episodes will come out every Tuesday. Check out my Instagram and TikTok, as well as YouTube, which I will be posting episodes on as well. See you next week. Bye.